is a proud corporate partner of Texas Tech Athletics.
Today, it's Texas Tech and Kansas. And for the keys to the game, this is KMAC Red Raider Nation's Countdown to Kickoff. Sponsored by Covenant Medical Group Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Good morning and welcome into Red Raider Nation's Countdown to Kickoff. Texas Tech making the trek to Lawrence, Kansas this weekend in search of their first road win of the season. Still 7.5 hours or so away from kickoff between the Red Raiders and Jayhawks. So for the next half hour, we get you ready for the 11th all-time meeting between these two schools at David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium. Coming up, what the Texas Tech run defense needs to do better against Kansas after giving up 182 yards on the ground against Iowa State last weekend. Also ahead, we get a breakdown of those Jayhawks from our friends in Topeka. And later, Ryan Hyatt joins us with his thoughts on today's meeting in the final call. Now time to head to Lawrence, where the Red Raiders are a perfect 10-0 all time. Our Eric Kelly joins us now with more on a Kansas team and its new head coach that's trying to change that today, that winning against the Red Raiders, that is, and change the perception of a program that has struggled mightily in the last decade. Eric?
Okay, David, so next week for Texas Tech football, a bye week. Most times when you come to Lawrence, Kansas to play football, that would also be considered a bye week. But this isn't necessarily your slightly older cousins, Kansas Jayhawk football team, because they've been competitive in games against Power 5 teams this year, not so much in past years. And listen, I get it. Jayhawks have lost to Coastal Carolina. That's a really bad loss. But they've also beat Boston College and really should have beaten Texas. And really it starts with Les Miles. And I think it hasn't been lost on anyone, even the Texas Tech coaches, what he brings to the table here at Kansas.
I think Coach Miles brings credibility to that program. I mean, the job that he obviously did at Oklahoma State and at LSU speaks for itself. He's had success everywhere he's been. And those kids played hard on Saturday. They really did. They went out and man, they did. They emptied the tank and had every right to win and deserved to win.
Now, by hyping this all up, I'm not saying, hey, expect Texas Tech to come in here and lose to Kansas, but expect it to be closer than it has been in the past, which it hasn't been. Red Raiders 19-1 all-time in football against Kansas, 12-game winning streak as well. So obviously Matt Wells expecting to come in here and extend the winning streak to 13 games. David?
All right, we appreciate it, Eric. We'll check back in with you in a bit. You mentioned Coach Wells hoping that his defense can slow down that Jayhawks' new-look offense, not just the run game. Quarterback Carter Stanley certainly taking a liking to the change of offensive philosophy after the first 6 games of the season. Redshirt senior with season highs in pass attempts, yards, and touchdowns in the Jayhawks' near upset of Texas. First game for Kansas under new offensive coordinator Brett Dearman.
He played confident. I think he played with his chest stuck out, and I think Coach Dearman, called some plays and designed it. That 2 weeks that the change has kind of been made. I think that's, I think 9 responded real well. He seemed like he was running the show.
I think he fits this new spread system. I mean, he seems so comfortable. It's like they've been running it all year long. I mean, to be able to go into Texas and the confidence in which they played with, man, he spread the ball around.
They'll have much more on that Jayhawk offense and running back Puka Williams coming up here on Red Raider Nation Countdown to Kickoff. Also ahead, Texas Tech's offense not taking advantage of all the turnovers forced by the defense. Eric will rejoin us with more on that. And later with Eric in Lawrence, we call on our buddy Ryan Hyatt to join us for another edition of Board Games.